my channel, Dr. Richie's Masterclass. On this channel, I make videos specially for young people on financial investment and saving, on how to have your own financial goals in life and achieve them, how to start investment from zero, and so many other beneficial and educational videos on how to grow financially in life, especially for young people. Whether you're a working professional or whether you're a college student or simply wants to grow financially in life, then yes, please go ahead and click subscribe to my channel. So in today's video, let's try to understand how much salary or income is needed to survive in a place like Dimapur, and whether we can start investment or whether we can have our own saving and financial investment plan with a very low salary in a city like Dimapur. So friends, first of all, what you need to understand is that this also totally depends on whether you have a family or family members to look after, or whether you are a single working bachelor or a single working female. Okay, so based on my own personal experiences, since I'm not yet married, I'm going to be talking about this topic based on my experience as a single unmarried working bachelor. Okay, so first, let's try to find out, like, in order to survive in a place like Dimapur with that basic standard of living, how much should be the minimum amount of income or salary? For this, we first need to calculate like what are all our major areas of expenses. Okay, so first of all, of course, like this will be our monthly rent fees. Second will be our monthly mess fees. The third will be on transport expenditure. And the fourth one is of course like entertainment and recreation. Okay, so these are our major areas of expenses. So first, let's try to have the approximate calculation of how much amount should be spent on each of these categories of expenses. Okay, so first let's try to talk about our monthly rent fees. Okay, so I'm talking about Dimapur. On average, like usually the housing rent it's like around like 6,000 to 8,000 for a 2 BHK apartment. This I'm talking on average in Dimapur. It can be less than that also, or it can be more than that also. But since, especially if you are trying to save and invest, okay, if you're trying to cut down on your expenditure, then it's always wise to uh, spend as minimum as we can, even on our rent fees. Okay, so let's try to count it as minimum as possible as we can. Otherwise, as I said again, your monthly rent fees, this can be more than that also, or it can be less than that also. But let's try to count it as minimum as possible as we can. So let's try to keep our rent as like 6,000 to 8,000 for 2 BHK. And obviously, if you're staying in a 2 BHK apartment, then it's always like good to share your apartment with someone else, because like I think like a 2 BHK apartment, this is quite more than enough to share with like two people, or even like more than that, two or three people. So there would be like more than enough space for each of this flatmate. So if you share the apartment with someone else, then your rent will be cut down to half, instead of you spending like all the amount together for your monthly rent fees. Okay, so as I said again, let's try to count it as minimum as much as we can. So let's try to assume that your monthly rent fees is like around 6,000 for a 2 BHK apartment. Okay, then this divided by 2 will be 3,000. And plus, let's also try to consider electricity bill. Okay, so for one person, I'm talking about the average rate in Dimapur again. So let's say like it's around like 500 per person. Okay, so it can be more than this also. But as I said again, let's try to keep our expenditure as low as much as we can. So now the total amount would be 3,500 for your monthly rent fees, including electricity. Okay. Then next, let's go to the next category. This is your monthly rent fees. Okay, so this will include everything from your daily basic essential items, like your grocery items, like breakfast items, like lunch and dinner items, and everything that is needed for your this monthly mess expenditure. Okay, so usually based on average, this can be around like 2,000. And as I said again, for someone like it can be more than this also, or it can be less than that also. But based on my own experiences, I'm telling you, like, spending 2,000 for monthly mess fees, like I think like this is quite good enough. Okay, I'm telling you, like, based on my own expenditure, with this 2,000, like, you can have a very decent standard of living. Okay, so this is the mess monthly mess fees that you can spend. The third one is on transport expenditure. So in Dimapur, usually the transport it can be around like 100 to 200 rupees per day. This will include your transport expenditure for going to your workplace, for meeting people, for this going out with friends and near and dear ones, and so on. So this will include everything. So this will come to around 100 to 200 per day, which will become around in 1 month 100 to 200 into 30, that will be around like 3,000 to 6,000. But as I said again, let's try to keep the expenditure as low as possible as we can. So let's try to assume that your transport is around like 3,000. So now the total with all these like rent fees, mess fees, and transport, this will become around like 8,500. Okay, so this so far, like this is your total expenditure. Okay, the next category is entertainment and recreation, which will include everything like if like going out with friends, going to places like restaurants, like eating out and all these things. And of course, like if you're someone who is into drinking habits and who is into regular smoking habits, then your expenditure will be like quite it can even like double up, or it can be more than that also. But having said so, let's try to keep the this expenditure on entertainment as minimal as we can. So let's try to count it as like 100 to 200 rupees per day. Okay, like personally for me, I try to spend as low as like 100 rupees per day. And yes, you can definitely do it. And if you want to know the tips and tricks and the strategy to spend as low as possible as you can for your daily expenditure, then yes, I'm going to be coming up with a lot of interesting videos on this channel. So yes, please do keep on tuning to my channel for more. But for now, yes, back to the video. Like, so for this like entertainment, like let's keep it as like around 100 per day. Okay, so this in 1 month, this will become 100 into 30, it's like around 3,000 rupees per month. So now the total will become 8,500 plus 3,000. Like this will be 11,500. As I said again, of course, like if you're someone who frequently eats out, who frequently goes to restaurant, and who is into like drinking habits, like who is into like regular party with friends and all this stuff, then of course like your expenditure will add up considerably. But yes, if you're trying to spend as little as you can, then this is the amount that you can manage in a month. Okay, so this 11,500, so this is the total amount that you can manage for your rent, for your mess fees, and for the transport, and also for your entertainment and recreation. Okay. So now, apart from this, let's also try to keep this 1,000 as like miscellaneous. Okay, it can be like emergency fund, like because like we never know, like anything can come up. And any expenditure can come up because like life is so unpredictable. So we will keep 1,000 as that miscellaneous expenditure. So now the total becomes like 12,500. Okay, 12,500. Just imagine, like this is the amount that you can manage very easily, and yet you can also manage everything under this, like your rent fees, your mess fees, transport, and everything, and yet you can have that basic standard of living. And along with this, like you can keep then if you're someone earning like let's say a salary of 15,000 or even more than that also, because I'm sure like in a place like Dimapur, many people, like if you are like someone who is a graduate, or if you have that good qualification, then I think like 15,000, that's the minimum that anyone can pay, that much I believe. And of course, like if you're not earning that much, then you can start with smaller salary, and then you can expect it to go on increasing. And it can be more than that also, but I'm counting it as minimum as possible as we can. Okay, so if you're earning 15K, this can be your total expenditure. So the remaining amount, you can keep it for saving and investment. Okay, so it can be around like 2,000 or 2,500 per month. So 2,500, it may seem very small, okay, because like 2,500, I mean, you can easily spend it on drinking alcohol, or like if you are this regular like chain smoker, then you can easily spend that amount in just like few days. Or if you're someone who goes to expensive place like restaurants and all these places, then of course like you will eventually like and finish up this amount in a very few days. Okay, but 2,500, if you keep it for your saving and investment, then in a month, then just imagine in 1 year this will become like around 24,000. Okay, in 1 month. it can be more than that also. So 24,000, you can keep on investing with that amount, and you can like this again put it into more investment option, and this will eventually grow and grow. And it's all about compounding. Okay, it's all about the compound interest that you can collect from your investment amount. Okay, so this is what we call the magic of compounding, and also expanding your investment by starting small. Okay, so now this like, so in this like minimum salary, this much you can save it. But just imagine if you're earning double this amount, or if you're earning more than that also, by making sure that your expenditure is kept as low as you can, then you can even like invest so much, in 1 month, and in 1 year you can just imagine that will grow into much bigger amount. So like as I said again, it's not about like how much one earns, whether one has a small salary or one has bigger salary. One can earn like more than lakhs in 1 month, and one can just earn like 15 to 20K. But if that person earning more than lakhs, if that person is very bad in financial management, if that person does not have financial budgeting, he just like spends the amount whatever he's getting, then obviously like you won't even realize how much you have spent on your this transport, how much you have spent on your entertainment, how much you have spent on partying, how much you have spent on shopping, how much you have spent on your this going out with friends. And again, if you're into this drinking habits, then because like people who are into drinking habits, then they rarely do not understand like how much money has been wasted on drinking. And like especially if you're drinking out with friends, then again sometimes that there's always a person who has to end up like spending for the rest of the friends. So you can just imagine. So what matters is not the amount of your salary. Yes, you can easily manage even in your low salary. So if you're able to manage in your low salary, then once you start earning more, then you would become like a professionals in financial management, in having your own financial goals in saving. And I'm telling you this with my own personal experiences, because I try to save and invest as much as I could from my very early young age. I did not wait to become what to have high salary from the start. I just try to start with small, and then like as I said again, it's all about the magic of compounding. So yes, I hope that those who are watching my video right now, at least like um, I'm able to provide some beneficial informations on the basics of financial investment and saving. So if you have any more information that you want to know, then you can comment down below so that I can come up with like more informations, more useful informations, and also I can come up with a lot of interesting videos in my next videos. So yes, please do keep on tuning to my channels. With this, I hope that all of you have learned at least like some basic informations and lessons from my video, and hope to make more videos on my channel. And with this, I just want to say that thank you so much for watching my videos. Hope to see you all again in the coming days to come. So yes, take care. Bye bye.